Good morning, my dear students. Welcome back to RB Online Classes. So, this class is for third standard. And tell me, students, in last class, what we have discussed? We have discussed about grammar part, right? Grammar part of the Emperor's New Clock lesson. We have discussed about simple past tense of regular verbs. If we add ed to the base verb, so it will become past tense, right? When we will use a simple past tense, we will use to talk about the actions which are already happened or which are already finished, right? This we have discussed in previous class, and we have discussed about how to give compliments, right? How to give compliments. And this today's class we will go with a poem, that is gymnastic clock. You know how to write a sentence in past tense, right? Subject plus past tense form of verb past tense form of verb of base verb plus object is nothing but add ed to the base verb, right? So this we have discussed in previous class. Today let us go with a poem, that is gymnastic clock. What is the name of poem? That is gymnastic clock. The gymnastic clock. So this is the poem written by Young C. Davis. She is an American poetess. So this is the poem about clock, and it is a conversation between the poetess and the clock. So what it is? This poem is conversation between clock and poetess. Here poetess is nothing but female of poet, right? Female of poet. So this is the poem, which is conversation means the poem is talking. The poem is about the clock is talking to the poetess. So this is the imagination of poetess, that clock is talking to the poetess. So we will see the gymnastic clock. The little clock is friends with me. It talks as plain as can be and says each morning as it rises, now don't forget your exercises. Both hands above your head, you know. Then lower them very slowly so he don't get tired and stop. That way, I exercise like this all day. Right in its face, then I say, pooh, I would not boast of it like you, but I can swing my arms round too. And so the clock then looks at me, and I look back, and he each single morning when we rise, just exercise and exercise. See what the clock is telling? The little clock is friends with me. The little clock is friend with poetess. It talks as plain can be. The meaning of plain. The meaning of plain is clear or simple. The little clock is friends with me. The little clock is a friend of poet and it talks as plain can be. It talks in a very simple way or in a very clear way and says, and what the clock will say to poetess, each morning as it rises, every morning it will rise after getting up. What the clock will do? Now don't forget your exercises. The clock is telling to poet that whenever you woke up from your bed, don't forget to do exercises. The little clock is friends with me. It talks as plain as can be and says each morning as it rises, now don't forget your exercises. Whenever you woke up from your bed, don't forget to do exercises. Both hands above your head, you know how to do exercise. Both hands above your head means like this. Both hands above your head, then lower them very slowly. Whenever you raise your hands, just lower them very slowly. Lower them means ಕೆಳಗಡೆ ನಿಧಾನವಾಗಿ ತಗೊಂಡ್ ಬಾ. Both the hands above your head, then lower them very slowly. So, don't you get tired and stop that way. While doing like this, don't get tired and don't stop the exercise. I exercise like this all day. The clock is telling that every day I'll exercise like this only. I think you have observed the needles of clock on male on kelag barutte. It will be all day rounding and rounding, right? So both the hands above your head, then lower them very slowly. So, don't get too tired and stop that way. I exercise like this all day. The clock will tell to poetess that every day I will do exercise like this only. Right in its face, then I say, pooh, I would not boast of it like you, but I can swing my arms round too. And so the clock then looks at me, and I look back, and I and he each single morning when we rise just exercise. So when the clock says like that, what poet will reply to the clock? Right in its face. Then I say pooh directly on the face of clock. The poet will say that I would not boast of it like you. The meaning of boast is to talk proudly about yourself. To talk proudly about yourself. See, the clock was telling to poet that I will do exercise like this only, like the way you have to do the same thing when you get up from your bed. The clock says to the poetess, when poetess will reply her, what she will reply to the clock? Directly she will say on the face of clock that I won't talk proudly about yourself. Jamba kochkonangilla nan intara. I will do it quietly, she'll say. I wouldn't boast of it like you, but I can swing my arms round too, like this. She says that I can swing my arms round too. And so the clock then looks at me. When she says like that, the clock will look at poetess. And I look back, and I and he each single morning when we rise, just exercise, exercise, exercise. See, when she will say like that, even I can do exercise. I can, what do you say? I can swing my arms round too. When the poetess will tell to the clock, the poetess will look at the, sorry, the clock will look at poetess, even the poetess will also look at clock. And I look back, and I and he each single morning when we rise, just exercise, exercise, exercise. What both they will say, when when she will look at the clock, when the clock will look at her, they both says when we will rise up every morning, each single morning means every morning we will do exercises. This is about the poem. Let me repeat it. The gymnastic clock. The name of poem is Gymnastic Clock. The little clock is friends with me. It talks as plain can be, and says each morning as it rises, now don't forget your exercises. ಏನ್ ಹೇಳುತ್ತೆ ಕ್ಲಾಕ್? ದಿನ ಬೆಳಿಗ್ಗೆ ಇದ್ದವಾಗ ದಿನ ಏನಂತ ಹೇಳುತ್ತೆ ಕ್ಲಾಕ್? ದಿನ ಬೆಳಿಗ್ಗೆ ಎದ್ದು ಎಕ್ಸರ್ಸೈಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ರಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳುತ್ತೆ. ಯಾರಿಗೆ ಹೇಳುತ್ತೆ? ಟು ದ ಪೋಯಟ್. And says each morning as it rises, now don't forget your exercises. Both the hands above your head, you know. Then lower them very slowly. So, oh, don't get tired and stop that way. I exercise like this all the day. Right in its face, then I say, pooh, I would not boast of it like you, but I can swing my arms round too. And so the clock then looks at me, and I look back, and I and he each single morning when we rise, just exercise and exercise. So this is a poem. And what did you learn? What the poetess want to convey by this poem? What she wants to say? She wants to say that the man should be always active, right? The man should be always active, and he should not be lazy. He wants to say that everyone should do exercises, right? And work hard to get success. Kaya kave kailasa anta heltaralla. There is a proverb, work is worship, right? So the poet wants to convey that everyone should be very active. So this is the poem, just small poem, that is the gymnastic clock. So this is the poem, conversation between clock and poetess. Poetess is nothing but the female of poet. And these two meanings we came across today. That is, plain means clear and simple. The clock was talking in a very plain way, that is in a clear way or in a simple way. Boast means to talk proudly about yourself. Jamma kachkonodu anta ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಲ್ಲ, that is what boast. The clock is telling the poetess to do exercise, but the directly how the poet is telling, how the clock is telling to poet to exercise, both the hands above your head, lower them very slowly. But directly on its face, the she will say to clock that I won't boast it out like you. I will do exercise. I can swing my hands round too, she will say. And when they both rises, they will do each morning exercises. Okay. This is your poem. And in your page number 35, you can see this, right? This one. Can you? Yes. This poem is homework. What they have given you? Read the poem. The second line must always rhyme with the fourth line. Complete the poem with words that rhyme. I know a lovely dicky bird. I cook a doodle do. My father and my mother and my sister know it too. They only gave. The rhyming word of do is to. So in second and third paragraph, the last word of fourth line are empty. That you have to fill. It struts about to gaily, and it is brave and strong. And when it crows, it is a crowd, and both very loud and dash. Oh, cook-a-doodle do, it crows, and cook-a-doodle won't. Leave off its cook-a-doodling, when mother dears cries dash. So this is your homework, right? Activity is your homework. So the question answers and what do you say? The grammar part, everything I have sent PDF to your WhatsApp group. Please write that and complete that in your CW. The poet appreciation I'll give today or tomorrow. Okay. So next lesson is the pound of, but I will see in next class. So this is about today's class, that is the gymnastic clock. Understand? I hope you understand today's class. Okay. Take care. Have a nice day. Thank you.